All right, before we dive into the heavy lifting of the weekly levels, let's look at what's actually moving the needle on FinX right now. So we're seeing a lot of chatter around some heavy hitters, such as Hood, as you can see on the screen. It's seeing significant volume, just like all the other names, such as Meta, Nvidia, Tesla, and social engagement. Overall, this is really kind of generating by high frequency discussion, mostly that is centered around technical analysis, from fundamental catalysts, from earnings. So really, what's the goal here? It's kind of to not chase the noise, but to identify where the liquidity is actually flowing, so you can find proper setups and see if they're legitimate or not, or whether FinX is just kind of blowing smoke. Pumping, dumping, things like that. So obviously, Hood, that is not a pumper and dumper. It is a very, I mean, it's a pretty established name. It's 52% off of its all-time highs. I go into a little bit more of discussion on my weekly videos for overall market cap videos. So go watch that also this week. But overall, Hood is still it's just consolidating. It's ranging. These are what ranging names do. They are. It's kind of, you might be able to say this is in another stage one. Ideally, it is, and it's going to find support here, especially if you're long term. It got hit on earnings mostly because I think its crypto market like volume was down 47%. That's huge. And they're also trying to spread their wings into other markets as well. Credit cards not new, but into like mortgages, which isn't really new. But they're trying to like branch out into other areas, not just straight up crypto and trading and things like that. So um, they're doing well year over year. Go look at it. But right now, the market is just kind of consolidating, chopping sideways. If you're a range trader, this is kind of a name. You can maybe risk it against this low. If price gets underneath there, maybe look for like an undercut and rally from failed moves up here, broke out of the range, comes fast moves in the opposite direction because it failed. End range is target, or opposite end range is target. And so it basically did that. So it continues to range here. It failed at the 200 EMA, which is slightly sloping downwards. If you're a range trader, this is where you want to be. If you are a trend trader, move on. Apple looks pretty interesting. Had pretty solid earnings. Mac Minis are basically being sold out, and they're going up in price. You can't say this is a double top. It just found supply at prior highs. It's only 3% off of all-time highs. You can say this could be an island, depending on if where we get a gap on Monday, if we get a gap on Monday. Pretty heavy topping tail here. I would look for some downside. It's extended off of the 8 EMA, but really this is a name you want to be in, especially with the AI build out infrastructure, its own chips, its own kind of world. Apple, it's going to be a long-term one. It's just, if you zoom out, especially on the weekly, what is it doing? It's not doing anything. It's just chopping within this range of 244 to 285-ish. So, if we get a breakout, for sure, start paying attention to this. But right now, if you're a range trader, that's where to be. Tesla, we got a nice little pump. Here, this support area, or this line, is the breakout area. Came down, undercut it. Now we got a little blast off up above it. Came down to retest the area. Downtrend line broken, little consolidation, and now it's pushing off. Volume isn't anything insane. It didn't really move much off of earnings either, but it does look like it's starting to turn upwards. I do think Tesla is probably going to be actionable relatively soon if you want to put an anchor VWAP from this prior high. We are actually over it. Let's look over. This is actually pretty interesting. So let's look over at the shorter time frame. We have anchor VWAP from the high, from this prior high. That's just of the day. We are over it now. So the average participant from this day is above water. They are positive. It's a nice little consolidation here. Broke out of it on nice little volume down here. So I would honestly look for a little retest of 385-ish, somewhere around there. That could be an interesting level to potentially risk against. We also have the 3-day pivot down here around 383. Maybe, if we get a gap down Monday, the first 15, 30 minutes or so chops around. And if it doesn't head lower, you could potentially risk against this low of day, Friday's low of day, basically, and see if you can catch a move to the upside to retest the 409. So Tesla actually looks pretty decent, pretty actionable next week. Let's go to AMD. AMD is absolutely insane. We do have earnings coming up on Tuesday for AMD, so be mindful of that. It is rip-roared. I would not touch this. I mean, you can if you want. You do you. This is super extended. especially from high to lows over the past uh, 23 trading days, 87% basically. Not a chance I'm touching it. Long term, that's fine, but expect volatility with these. If this pulls back 20-30% in your face, don't be shocked, don't be surprised, just be prepared. Amazon hitting all-time highs, pulling back. Nothing surprising here. Had earnings here. This is a place you want to be in, especially if it's going to chop around, maybe consolidate, look for a setup. This week, not sure. Probably need some time to digest this huge move. Let's move on. Microsoft was another one. Ideally, look at this. So I'm pretty sure I laid this out in last week's video. We're looking for a chop range, and now we look for a higher low relative because it made a higher high, right, versus here. So now we look for a structure change. Now we're looking for a higher low. This has a potential to be it. Solid bottom tail off of earnings at the prior anchor VWAP from the prior low here. It's above the 21, it's above the 50, it's under the 8, but whatever. We do still have the 200 above. So it looks like it's starting to try and turn around. It's probably going to chop around for a little bit more. But otherwise, never really know. It could just rocket to all-time highs just like Amazon did. So it's interesting. Microsoft does look interesting. Meta, this is getting hit a little bit on earnings. You can set an anchored VWAP. I'm going to let it sit and wait for a little bit, 2-3 days to see what happens here. Break out of like this earnings day range and see what happens. Otherwise, just set an anchor VWAP and see if it wants to respect it. Nvidia is next. So made all-time highs and now it's pulling back, right? So this is the first pullback after making all-time highs. If you are a range trader, the potential for it, say opposite end range, so failed breakout, opposite range is target. That would bring you all the way back down, depending on where you want to draw your range, to 170-ish. First, it has to hold this right here, this 192, 190 area. See this prior supply area, it broke out, consolidated. Ideally, it holds that, right? But if the market wants to pull back, you can kind of expect that to do so. Here's some other names that got some love on FinX. CUE. What's the average? Jesus, average volume is less than 500K. This thing got pumped on 18 million. There's probably some. It's a biotech. From, let's see, it closed. Yeah, I wouldn't touch this. I'm not interested in that whatsoever. AI, C3 AI, got a little pump. It's underneath the 50 EMA. It is kind of consolidating here. It's not going lower, so maybe it's trying to turn around on a reversal. Let's look at the weekly. It's chopping around, so maybe this gets a little push up next week. There's probably some sort of news why I was chattering on FinX, but really, it wasn't. It broke this pump, this day's low, failed to go lower and chopped around, and now it looks like it's pushing higher. I mean, it's not the best. STX, Seagate Technology. Now, this is a name you want to pay attention to. This is clean price action here. Let me draw it out for you. We got highs. You got a little wedge or whatever you want to call it. It broke out, and now it is trending. You see the trend lines. They are up. 8 is up, 21 is up, 50 is up, 200 is up. This is moving, right? I wouldn't necessarily chase this, as it has made a pretty good move already. If you want to start from this low on the 30th to around the highs, it's made a 100% move in 23 days, right? So it has volatility. It had earnings on Tuesday night. I do have an anchor VWAP set here. Set it there, see what happens, and just kind of monitor it, right? See if it wants to put up some sort of flag, wants a time correct. Maybe we get a gap and it sells off on extension. There's a few ways you can play this, but either way, STX, I do think that's a place to pay attention to. SOFI, SOFI, had earnings, got hit, and this could be a potential bear flag, maybe a little time correction, letting the 821 EMA catch up. This prior here, this is just with a breakout area. Maybe it holds here. This line here is this current support area. If it breaks lower, we could potentially get down to, yeah, you can see how this is. Look, so right there, right? Look left. I don't know, maybe we can get down to $10. That would not be ideal for any long-term holder. I remember this name was super hot obviously over here, right? Everybody was talking about it, everyone's pumping it, and now it's just getting crushed. So this is why you got to be careful on FinX type stuff. Clorox got crushed on earnings, down 10%. Nice. Not really nice if you're a long-term holder. If you're a short-term trader and caught a short, well done, good for you. Looking on the weekly, where can this thing go? It is underneath all of this. Maybe we get down to 83, potentially 80 bucks. That's some pretty high volume there. That now also it could be capitulation volume. I would set an anchor VWAP there. If this is your name, you like to trade that, set an anchor VWAP. Give it a couple days, 2, 3, 4, and I'd say at least 2 days, if not 3 or 4 days, and see what happens. Those are the names that kind of popped up this last week. Let's go over some other names that have been under the radar here. Not really under the radar, but on the radar. USAR, look at this volume coming in. Okay, we get a nice little pump. So this was news, some sort of news. I forget what it was, but then it just sold off and then it consolidated. It undercut this level here of 17 bucks and now it got back over, created a new high, and now it created a higher low. And so the trend is up, 8, 21, 50, 200 starting to curl up. We're getting some more volume in. So USAR, I do think this is an area you need to be in. I would pay attention to that for sure. GLW Corning, this is the part of the AI infrastructure build out, the glassware, fiber optics, et cetera, et cetera. I did enter a long-term position here on Thursday, just small. I'm going to start building, see if the 50 can hold up here and it continue on. But overall, it's kind of chopping around. It is an area to be interested in, I think, and for you to monitor. mRNA, I don't know. And I'm just going to delete that. Not interested. SNDK continues to be an absolute monster. I'm not going to touch it. It's too volatile for me. I don't have a good understanding of it, but you can keep it real simple. Look at the 8 EMA. Every time it comes close to it, it pops off of it. So earnings looks like it crushed earnings. It just continues to be a strong name, and I would set an anchor VWAP to the earnings and see what happens. SNDK still a place to be in. CoreWeave, I did enter a longer term position here as well. You can see we have a downtrend line break, created a higher high relative to here, came back down, pulled back, created a higher low. We have a structure change now. That higher low happened at near the 21 and the prior anchor VWAP. It is now above the 8 EMA, above the 21, above the 50. We have a golden cross if you care about that stuff. The 50 crossing the 200 EMA. CoreWeave looks solid. I do think this is a place to pay attention to and to be. Planet Labs, kind of choppy. I mean, it looks good, but like, what's there to do? It's not resolved yet. So you're risking chop and slop there. Google had earnings. Go watch my weekly market cap video. Mara, M-A-R-A, looks like it's trying to have a turnaround here. This prior resistance area continues to be a resistance area. So ideally, it breaks that and comes back and holds, and that is also where the 200. So if you can get a break above, set a higher high, come back, retest that 200 EMA, retest that breakout area, and then push higher, you got a trend change confirmation. So Mara has potential, but it has not proven itself just yet, but it looks pretty solid, honestly. Now, chopping around, that's not interesting. INTC, this is a name you need to be in. Look at the volatility. Look at the volume. Look at the volatility. It has earnings. I have an anchor VWAP to the earnings. I'm going to make it green so I don't forget what it is. We have a gap. It just continues to run. Don't be surprised if we have 20-30% pullbacks in this individual name, but those names are probably going to be bought. This is in the CPU world. It's very important for AI structure, build out, chips, etc. So I would really pay attention to those names as we move forward. SMCI, I have nothing to say. Nike, this got hit. I have nothing to say. Downtrend line. Dell, this is another name. Look at the volatility. It's moving up. Volume's drying up a little bit out here. Could be resting. We have a little gap. It was almost filled. It's above the 8 though. Look at the trend. It broke out. Nice base. Retested. And now it's just trending. This looks solid. Dell is a place to be as well. AEHR, look at the move. Huge move. 250% in 18 trading days from the low to the high. A place to be. A place to pay attention to. FSLY, place to pay attention to. CEIN, look at all of these names. They are up and to the right. LITE, we got the breakout. Last week I was saying LITE is on the watch, and we got a nice move. I didn't do anything with it. I have been busy working on other projects, which I will be announcing shortly in the upcoming weeks. I have some cleanup of an app I'm building, which is pretty sweet. But so keep an ear out for that. But LITE, this also looks solid. Place you need to be. CCL, Carnival, I'm going to take that off. Nothing to say there. ARM, nice base, breakout. Holding the 8, we'll see if it comes back down for a retest. But that looks pretty solid, right? Look at that huge consolidation that is breaking out of. Ideally, it holds. This is a place you should probably pay attention to and be involved in. Let's go MSTR, hitting prior area. This looks like it's turning around. We do have the 200 EMA. This thing can move, so 205 isn't unreasonable. Palantir, we do have earnings this week. It's a sloppy, choppy mess right now. It's probably just basing, waiting for it to really just kind of to turn around. Let's see, AMPX broke out, retest, pushing higher. Interesting. SOC, Sable Offshore. This was that energy company. Looks like it's basing. Nice bottoming tail. Has earnings coming up somewhere. It's nothing of interest. New Micron. This is another name that is an absolute monster. Don't be shocked if we have very strong pullbacks. From failed moves down here comes fast moves and we get a breakout. So failed breakdown to a breakout, and it's just trending up that 8 EMA. This is a place to be. This is a place to pay attention to. And this is trash. I wouldn't touch it. NBIS, nice breakout retest, and now it's pushing away. I did buy some long-term on Friday here as well, just a small amount, and we'll see if it wants to continue to run. But look at that. That looks very nice. A breakout retest, and now it's running. A place you want to be. IREN, kind of chopping. Not super interesting just yet. It's like becoming interesting. Higher high here versus here. Now we have a potential higher low. So we need to make sure this confirms, and we'll have a structure change and we can actually see a turnaround. ASTS, breakdown, retest, under the 200, under the 8. This looks like garbage right now. I would not touch it, honestly. If you're looking long, maybe if you're looking short, sure. Rocket Lab, ideally this holds, right? I did start a longer term position on Friday to see, space, rockets, AI, energy, solar in space, data centers in space. That's a whole idea, right? GEV, this is getting hit right now, but really, honestly, it looks pretty good. Just waiting for a pullback, wait for it to turn around. CORH looks pretty solid up and to the right. Rivian continues to be a heartbreaker. I just keep this thing on because I think it's funny, honestly. I hope you guys are staying safe with it. HWM, this is a waste of time. Let's go. KTOS, not looking too hot below. All of those. Coinbase looks like it might be turning around. I'll keep that on there, but not super interesting. VRT running up and to the right. Looks pretty solid. Don't fight the trend. End of story. PayPal looks pretty solid. Nice little rounding here, little rounding action here. Broke higher. Now a little shorter term rounding action. Broke higher. Just be mindful. We got earnings on the 5th of May. LAR, Lithium Argentina. Yeah, okay. Broke out. Test, held it basically, time corrected, and then continues higher. Looks pretty darn good. FLNC, meh, waste of time. Target looks okay up and to the right, not top of the list. RKT, this looks like a bear flag to the short-term EMA. We have an 8 and 21 cross. This looks like it's heading lower to 13. So if you like short sets, looks like a decent short. LRCX looks okay. It's only 7% off highs. I'm not interested. It's too sloppy, choppy. Zeta, sloppy, choppy. ONDS, nothing spectacular here. I'm deleting it. BE, look at that. This has been hard to trade over here, but it finally broke out. Huge gap, and then earnings, huge gap. We'll see how much this thing can run. It's already made a huge move, especially if you want to go from the low here to the high up here in 22 trading days, 150%. Nah, I'm good. Good for you if you caught it. Well done. Congratulations. Just, it's not about how much money you make. It's about how much money you keep. So be mindful of that, okay? TSM, it's solid. manufacturing, chips, etc. It's a place you want to be. All right, that covers this week's FinX. Go over it, study the charts, make sure they are above the moving averages, make sure they're up and to the right. If they're chopping around, don't waste your time. There are names to pay attention to. There are trade setups to take advantage of. Hopefully this helps. And like, comment, subscribe, go watch my weekly market video, and we'll see you next week. Later.